Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to share with you how to fix the backlights of a TV. Now this is obviously not my normal background. I am currently in my wife's office and I'm going, because I needed more space honestly, but I'm going to be doing it in here because better lighting and again more space. And thank you to my wife for filming this video as well. So when I'm talking about the backlights of a TV, it is the light strips that actually put light through the screen, and that is what makes the TV, the picture happen. Now, a lot of these this is a 55-inch TV, by the way. A lot of these 55-inch screens, the backlights tend to go out on them. And this is due to a matter of reasons. One being that you might just leave the TV on constantly and it eventually burns out the backlights. Sometimes if you have like a power surge or something like that, that could also damage them. So it is actually surprisingly easy to fix these. This is this is the LG 55 UK 6090 PUA model of TV. And this was put out in 2019. And so this is actually, I picked this up, this was on the side of the road, and whenever I do see TVs on the side of the road, I always look for just simply one thing, and that is if the screen is intact. If the screen's intact, chances are it's the backlights that need fixing. And so that is a very fixable thing. You can buy backlights on eBay, which I have here. You can buy these on eBay for around $30. The easiest, 30 to 40 I'd say. The easiest way to look these up is simply look up the model of like TV and then just type in backlights and you'll probably find a seller. So this TV is going to be fixed for a friend of mine. And this will be the third TV that actually I have fixed. And so I'm going to turn it on here to show you what I mean when the backlights need adjusting. So as you can see on this screen, the image is very, very blue. And so that just tells me that it needs new backlights, that they are in the process of burning out. And I'll show you once I actually get everything taken apart you know, show you exactly what I mean when they are starting to burn out. I should add too that the blue on the screen in person is far more blue than what you will be seeing in the video. This is very, very blue to me. I'm sure the video doesn't look nearly as blue as that. So set this down. So what you'll need for this project is I like to have some kind of table, and I usually lay this I have this I don't even know what this would be, like a drop cloth or a sheet or something, that it just kind of makes the table a little bit softer, because in the whole process of all of this, you are really, the biggest thing you want to avoid is cracking the screen. Pretty much everything else can be replaced, everything can be fixed, but if you crack the screen, you might as well throw the whole thing away, because unless if you want to keep it for parts, because once the screen is cracked, there's really nothing you can do about that. And so, I'll get to this later in the video, but you also want to have a secondary table somewhere else, like a flat surface, and I'll get to a reasoning why. So obviously the other items that you want your backlights that you would purchase. You want to have like a small toolkit. Realistic, you only need 2 screwdrivers, a Phillips and a flathead. I like to have like a little screw tray thing. This has like a magnet on the back just to collect screws. You could have like a box cutter if you need it to like open up your backlights. And then also you just need a flat piece of cardboard. This was a box for a cat tree that my cats recently got. And so you want the piece of cardboard roughly, you know, about the size. I mean, if it's a little smaller than the screen, that's fine, but you roughly want it to be about the size of the screen, which again, I'll get to later in the video why you will need this. Now, the next thing, before you get started in any of this stuff, I will say, make sure you unplug it. I know it sounds like a silly thing, but you don't want to take this cover off and start touching pieces and get electrocuted. So, I like to unplug it and actually physically I mean, you will actually have to do this, but if it's possible, some TVs is possible, some not, to take the power cord actually off of the whole screen itself. Now, again, like I said, this is a lot easier than you would think it would be. And so, Yeah, I think if you come across these screens, it is a whole lot easier to fix than to buy a new TV. So this is an option for you if you ever, you're just looking to upgrade. Maybe you might have a smaller TV and you're looking to upgrade and you come across one and, that someone's throwing away or whatever. And they're also on Facebook from time to time for free. So I've never done any TV bigger than 55 inch, so that might be different, but I'm just going to go over exactly how to fix a 55 inch. So I flipped the TV around just for you guys to be able to see things a little better. I'm going to mix in some photos and video clips here and there within this video, but really there's not that many screws holding on this back panel. I went ahead and already removed those screws earlier just to make it easier, but really there's just a screw here, 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 there, and then there's like 3 across the top. The other ones that could be very easily forgotten, there's one kind of usually by where like the inputs are, and there's one over by the other inputs. So you have 2 screws in the middle as well. But basically, once you get those out, you might have to take a flathead screwdriver and very, very carefully kind of try to pop this back case off, because sometimes it like snaps in to the frame. So I'm just going to kind of take that off and set that aside. So once you have that off, you'll see that really there are not many pieces to a modern day TV. You have 2 main circuit boards, a couple speakers, and a small circuit board down here. And essentially that's all it for the back of the TV. One of the boards, this one is for your power, that powers everything throughout the entire system. And then this one controls all of the video, so the inputs and what actually goes to the screen. So I like to always start these off with just removing the speakers. Very, very easy to do. You basically just one little tab that you disconnect here, and then they just kind of lift off. There's no screws or anything. You'll notice that there is an R and an L on most of these TVs. R obviously meaning right, L meaning left, and these are basically, when the TV is upright, that is the right side and the left side when you're looking at it. So I just like to remove those quickly, get those out of the way. And then the next thing, what you want to do is there is this bottom panel here. This is basically a cover for the circuit boards that actually control the screen. Underneath this panel, the 2 boards that are attached are very, very, very delicate. So basically there's this little power button you can easily take off. This kind of slides in there. And then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws holding this case on. So I just like to go through and remove all of those. An important thing to remember as well is just to try to remember the best you can as you're undoing all of these screws, what size screw goes where. So I know with a lot of the TVs, there's like these little silver screws, and I believe there are different sizes as well. So as you're taking them out, just make a mental note of what screw goes where. I don't know if you're able to pick this up or not, but there are 2 different screws here, and this one with the bigger head actually holds on this little device down here. And then this little device that I talked about earlier, it basically just lifts out. And you want to be careful with all of these wires just to not just fling them anywhere. You just kind of want to make sure that they're more or less staying roughly like in the shape that they were originally. So there is a screw hidden behind this connection here. And so to remove both of these, which they do have to come off to do this project, you simply very, very carefully, you have to bend this little gray plastic piece forward. Sometimes it's, but it bends forward, and then these ribbons just lift out. Again, very, very delicately, because if this breaks, it would be a whole thing to fix. But once you get those out, I like to just kind of set them aside as well. And then you get your last screw here in the middle. And then this whole piece of metal just lifts off. And then you can just set this piece aside as well. And then this next step, I recommend if you have somebody that you could ask to help you with this part, I would probably recommend having help because this is a little scary, but I need to flip the screen upside down and gently set it down. Now, it is, I mean, as I said, it is a little scary because you are kind of putting a little bit of weight on some of these circuit boards. So, yeah, I would just recommend as gently as possible to flip it over and set it down. So I'm going to do that quickly. Now this is probably going to be one of the more time-consuming parts of this whole thing, but you need to take this plastic frame off of the TV. Now there are screws located. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws just on this side. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws across the top. And then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws across the bottom. So there are actually a decent amount of screws to take off. And yeah, I guess I'll do that now. One thing to note though, these bottom screws, I'll show them quickly. This is what I was talking about earlier. I don't know if you can see that from here. At least on this model, the bottom screws are actually slightly longer than the side and top screws. I don't know, again, if this is for every model, but for this particular model, so all 7 of the bottom screws are going to be slightly longer than the sides and the top, but just something to take note of. And like I kind of mentioned earlier, when you are taking the screws off from this bottom part, I can't stress enough how delicate those 2 circuit boards are at the bottom. They are basically held in with like a very, very thin wire, which I'll show here in a second. And if you damage those, you, again, might as well throw this whole screen away. It is just a very, very delicate part of the TV. But once you get all of the screws out, you can set your screws and screwdriver away for now. And this frame, there's usually little plastic tabs that hold it on. And so you could take a flathead screwdriver and very, very, very carefully try to pop out the tabs. And so let's see, there are 2 on the side I see. So basically just work your way around the entire screen and never put pressure between the, like if this is the screen, never try to like put something on it and put pressure to pop something up because you'll damage the screen doing that. So you really just have to work slowly and carefully when you are taking this frame off. But once you get all of those tabs off, just gently lift off the frame. Now, this by far is the scariest part of this entire process. This is when you physically have to take the screen off of the TV. And so I recommend to remove any jewelry that you might be wearing, such as a ring or a watch or anything like that, because you do not want to scratch anything. And you basically just like don't want anything to accidentally hinder you from actually accomplishing this project. So I'm going to remove my watch and my wedding ring. The first step you want to do when you are actually attempting to remove this screen, make sure that you have somewhere to put the screen once you get it off. And that's where another table or a desk or, you know, maybe if you are in like a basement or something, you can set it on the floor somewhere out of the way that, you know, might not, somebody might not step on it or anything. Make sure that's a safe location. Because again, if you crack this screen, you might as well just, you know, throw it all away. Now, these circuit boards that I've talked about a number of times now, they are held in by these rubber, I don't know if you're able to tell in the video, but there's these rubber like boots that are holding on or holding the circuit board on. They are attached to the screen. And so you need to remove these boards as well because they do not, it's all like one piece essentially. So basically they are rubber, these little boots. You can bend the little tabs and very, very gently pull them out. So as you can see, they are extremely delicate, but once you have them free, just let them sit there for a second. And then I'm going to do the other side here. And as you can see here, this little rubber boot actually, I think the glue didn't stick, and so it's actually detached from the screen itself. And so I'm just going to leave it right where it is. I'm not even going to mess with it. Just leave it as one piece. Okay, so once you have those taken care of and they're just kind of like just hanging there, you want to take the piece of cardboard that you have and essentially, I like to start in one corner, but you're going to very, very, very gently lift a corner and work the cardboard to get underneath the screen. So there are, right underneath the screen, there are a couple filters, and you want to go in between the, I recommend at least going in between the screen and the filters. And again, you want to be careful not to scratch the back of the screen. If you have to think of it, this is like a very, very thin piece of glass. Whenever you crack a TV, like if you've ever seen videos or photos, this is the part obviously that cracks. And so, yeah, without this being intact, then the backlights and all that stuff is kind of pointless. But so you want to very gently Okay. Always the scariest part right there is just getting the piece of cardboard in. Obviously, if you had a bigger piece of cardboard, it might work easier. Or if you have two people, maybe somebody could very gently hold it up while the other person slides the cardboard in. But the main reason is I just don't want to get my fingerprints on the back of the screen. I don't want my the oils of your hands to do that, to mess up the back of the screen. So I like to put a piece of cardboard on it. Also just kind of stiffens it up a little bit. But next, this is definitely the scariest part of, I know I've said that several times now, but is you want to very carefully get your hands underneath the screen and very gently lift. Very gently. I'm going to step out of frame for this one because I have to set this down on a... So the next thing is you need to take off this secondary frame. This frame basically holds the screen to the TV, and so this one I think it just, yeah, I think it just snaps in. So there's little tabs around the entire thing. Again, like the last one, you could take a flathead screwdriver and just kind of go and pop all this tabs. I will say just be careful not to break any of the tabs, because once you break stuff, it's a little harder to put back together. But once you get all the tabs pulled, you can simply just gently lift this off. This is a pretty thin piece of plastic, so you do want to try to be careful with it because it could easily crack as well. So next up, it is taking all of these filters off. There are several layers of filters. Let's see, there's one, actually I've never counted, so 1, 2, 3. 3 different filters on this screen. And so basically they're not held in by anything, they just kind of sit on the screen. There are these little tabs that kind of just like keep them in place. And so I like to try grab all 3 at the same time, work your way around the screen, and simply just lift it off. Again, I also think these will crack, so apparently one other thing you need when you are doing this is patience. But once you get all of these off, you can just set these aside. And then finally, you are actually seeing the backlights. So all of these little LED lights back here are the ones that actually add a light to the TV. And so the screen itself is what projects an image, but then these light up that image. And so that's what actually you are able to see on when you actually plug in the TV and watch stuff. So this white, this is the last filter that you have to remove because the strips actually sit behind it. It is one of the more annoying things that I think, at least in my experience with LG, fixing LG TVs, that they put this filter and it's like almost like goes under, like behind the lights. And so you'll see what I mean here in a minute. But the first step is to remove all of these little plastic tabs. Looks like there's 6 total. And so you basically just turn them and they come out pretty easy to pop out. But you just want to make sure you don't break these. But once that's out, there's actually 3 little tabs here as well that you'll have to pop out from the back side of the screen. Those you'll have to probably lift the screen up and actually, honestly, maybe even flip it around. Which at this point, the TV is going to be substantially lighter than before. So you can flip it around. And then there's these little tabs that you can just pop out. And you can do this with either a screwdriver or a pliers, but either way, whatever is easier for you. Then once you get those out, flip it back around. And like I kind of talked about earlier, that this filter is basically just a piece of paper, but it kind of, in some ways, it goes behind each backlight. So you have to kind of gently try to like remove it from each one. Sometimes it can get caught on the lights themselves. So I like to and I will add, if you rip this ever so slightly, it's really not the end of the world, so don't sweat over it. Just try to not rip it. It is very thin and it's very easy to rip. Okay, so once you get all of those taken out, just lift this whole thing off. Again, this is very thin. It's basically a piece of paper, so you kind of have to be a little gentle with it, but you can also just set this aside. And in this step, I'm actually going to plug the TV back in, and it's not really a necessary step, but I want to plug it back in and show you what I mean when the backlights are like bluer, like more blue than what they really should be. So I'm going to carefully, because again, I do not recommend necessarily doing this step. This is simply just for demonstration purposes. So as you can see, these are very, very blue. That should not be the case. You can see right here, one is more white than blue. And even right here, there's 2 that are a little bit more white and a little bit white here. But majority of them are all blue. Which tells me that the previous owner of this TV probably just left it on all the time, and the backlights now are burnt out. And so that is when getting new ones is going to come into play. So I'm going to turn this back off. And again, if you are curious, if you are doing this whole project and you do want to see if the backlights were blue or not, and if you do plug it in, again, I recommend just unplugging the TV before you do anything else, because again, you don't want to get electrocuted. And when you are operating with a TV at this level, you could get electrocuted. The chances are higher. So what I want to do is I'm just going to open up this quickly. And I want to do this before I actually take out the lights, because once you take these out, they kind of get bent, and so, which I'll show in a minute. And so I just want to make sure, double make sure that I got sent the correct lights, and that they are the exact same match, because if not, I would rather have a TV that has blue on it, like a blue screen, than you know, not a TV at all. And so the easiest way just to determine if these are the same, you can just look at them quickly and double check. This is a 55 UK 63, 55 UK 63, and so they both have the same model number. There's the same amount of lights on each strip, and there are 3 strips. And so yeah, you can set those aside for now. And the important piece is I would recommend to unplug all of the lights before you start taking them out, because these wires are very thin and delicate. So these types of connections are basically, it's like a little, looks like a little butterfly, but you just kind of pinch each part and lift it straight up. And those will come out. And then each one, they are only held in by a, like they're like sticky on the back. So basically, it sounds way worse when you're doing it, but they basically just pull up. As you can see, they do get bent when you do take them off, and actually one of the LED lights came off of here. So thankfully that's the old one, and you can set these aside. You do not want to get these mixed up with your new ones. And then you just want to do that for all 3. And sometimes the tape actually gets stuck to, like it stays on the strips, but this one, 2 LED lights came off. And once you get the old ones out, on the back of the new ones, you'll see this, like, I mean, for this instance, there's this blue strip, but you just need to remove the one side of it. Let's see if I can. And this side will be sticky. And so the main thing you want to line up, there are several holes throughout the entire light or LED strip. There's going to be 2 holes lining up on the sides here and on the sides here. I like to use those as my guide of where to line up everything. You don't have to press down extremely hard, but you do want to just kind of like walk the entire light and just press down firmly enough. But I would say avoid pushing down on the actual lights themselves. You don't want to damage those. But you're going to do that for all 3. And then once you get all of those pushed in, you're going to want to reattach those wires. And just make sure that each one is fully pushed in, because you don't want to have to undo everything to fix those little wires. But now I like to honestly just check, make sure everything seems good before I start putting everything back together. So I'm just going to plug it in one more time and double check everything. Now, this is what the lights look like. This is what they should look like. On camera, it looks more blue than it actually is in person. Right now, all of these lights are pure white, and on camera, it will look a little bit more blue. But yeah, this is what it really should look like compared to the old ones. And so once I put everything back together, you'll see that the image will be, you know, way better than what it was. But I'm not going to go through and film myself putting everything back together. If you are following along in the video, basically just do whatever I just did, but in reverse. And so, you know, you have the really thin like paper filter, and then you have those 3 filters, and then you have the black frame that will go around to hold the screen, and then you put the screen on, and then the outer frame with the logo of the screen. One thing just to remember is just to try to remember which side is the top and which is the bottom. And yeah, I'll put this all back together, and then I'll show you what the final picture looks like. Well guys, it is the next day. So unfortunately, not everything went to plan, and I'm going to talk about why it didn't go to plan. Behind me is the TV screen, and when I was reassembling everything, something very unfortunate happened. I'll step aside here so you can potentially see. I'm not sure if the camera will be able to pick it up. But for the majority of the screen, it looks to be brand new. It looks like the picture is exactly how you want it. However, when I lean the screen forward here, you might be able to tell on camera, it might be a little blown out, I can't quite tell from here, but the corner right here is unfortunately black, and there are a couple lines going across the top of the screen. So when I was reassembling this, I did not realize that the glass itself was just ever so slightly sticking up in this corner, meaning that I didn't have this the glass square in the frame. And when I was putting on this border or the frame piece around it, I didn't realize it, but I pushed a little too hard and I cracked the corner of the TV screen, which I reiterated this like 4 times in the video already, but just how delicate these screens really are, especially when they are disassembled. And I really was considering not filming any more of this video. I really considered just scrapping this whole idea and, just forgetting about the whole thing. But, the more I thought about it, I thought that the majority of the video went exactly how to plan. And I really think, on the internet, a lot of the times, people show off their perfect lives. They show off everything going right, everything happening how you want it to, and it's very easy to have this romanticized idea of what life is like for everybody else, but not for you. And so I decided to still film the ending of this video, talk about my failure here, talk about a mistake that I made when reassembling it, and just to maybe encourage somebody out there, not everything always goes to plan. In the grand scheme of life, this really does not matter that much. This is just a TV I got for free, $30 worth of backlights to, potentially fix it. And I mean, technically speaking, it is still usable. You can still technically watch stuff on here. I do know that over time, those pixels will eventually spread to more of the screen. But, for now, I'm like, it is what it is. It really isn't that big of a deal. And so I really just wanted to still share this video because again, I think a lot of the times on the internet, on YouTube, on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, TikTok or whatever social media platforms you use, it's very easy to see people's lives just they're constantly traveling, or they're on all these exotic vacations and they're getting all of this cool stuff. I mean, within the collecting world, it's very easy to see that, where you might have collectors just getting this set and that and all of these really high-end items all the time, and it can make you kind of feel like you're missing out on a lot of things, that you're doing something wrong, that you're not achieving what they're achieving. And I think that's the internet is a very dangerous place for that, where it can really show the perfect life. And so that's why I still wanted to make this video. I still wanted to do this little end piece of the video. I did 90% of the work to this TV correct, but that one little mistake really messed me up. And so, maybe if you are trying to, do this to a TV, maybe if anything, I could try, maybe learn from my mistake of what is very, very important is to make sure that before you snap that outer frame on, you really want to make sure that glass for the TV is securely, squarely in. And yeah, I guess that's really it. So Unfortunately, it did not work out the way I really wanted it to, but that is okay. You know, there are way worse things that could have happened. So, guys, I hope somebody out there finds this video useful. You know, at least just follow the steps that I did disassembling the TV, and just honestly be very careful when reassembling it. But guys, thank you so much for watching this. Please let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions or just comments on how I did it. And just, yeah, I hope somebody out there finds this video useful. And yeah, that's the, you know, the joys of fixing things yourself. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But guys, again, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.